South China Sea. United States Humanitarian Convoy conducting disaster relief operations. Typhoon Ketsana devastated Philippines. 6 million affected. International aid required. American response, immediate, comprehensive, professional. 3 vessels. USNS Comfort, TAH-20, Mercy-class hospital ship. Displacement, 69,360 tons. Length, 894 feet. Medical staff, 1,200. Hospital beds, 1,000. 12 operating rooms. Complete floating hospital, plus 2 cargo vessels. USNS Watson and USNS Dahl. Carrying food, water, medical supplies, construction equipment, everything. Combined cargo value, $250 million. Strategic importance, humanitarian. International obligation, absolute. Until Chinese People's Armed Forces Coast Guard blocked passage. 4 Type 818 cutters, each 4,000 tons displacement. Length, 380 feet. Crew, 80 per vessel, armed with 76mm naval gun, 2 30mm cannons, water cannon, plus China Coast Guard 5901, mega cutter. Displacement, 12,000 tons. Length, 541 feet. World's largest Coast Guard vessel, armed with 76mm gun, helicopter deck, complete capability. 5 Chinese vessels, blocking humanitarian convoy. Illegal obstruction, international law violation, humanitarian crisis exploitation. Chinese government thought numbers intimidated Americans, thought humanitarian vessels wouldn't resist, thought international pressure insufficient. They were catastrophically wrong. The standoff ended disastrously for Beijing. American destroyer arrived. FA-18s overhead. International condemnation overwhelming. Chinese forced to retreat. Strategic humiliation. Diplomatic disaster. USNS Comfort. Military Sealift Command hospital ship. Operated by civilian mariners. Medical staff. U.S. Navy doctors, nurses, medical personnel. Non-combatant. Protected by Geneva Conventions. Red Cross markings. White hull. Hospital identification. Internationally protected vessel. Master Captain Robert Sullivan commanded ship operations. 23 years merchant marine experience. He observed Chinese Coast Guard vessels. Forming barrier. Blocking passage. Range. 5 nautical miles. 4 nautical miles. Intent obvious. Illegal blockade. Humanitarian obstruction. Chinese Coast Guard Commander Captain Chen Wei commanded blocking force. Orders from Beijing. Prevent American vessels from entering disputed waters. Demonstrate Chinese sovereignty. Force humanitarian convoy to request permission. Establish precedent. Orders. Illegal under international law. Execution. Diplomatic catastrophe. Strategic objective. Show Chinese control. Actual result. International humiliation. At 9:47 a.m. local time, Chinese Coast Guard vessels formed barrier. Line abreast. 5 vessels. Spacing, 800 yards between ships. Total blockade width, 3,200 yards. Position, directly across convoy route. Range, 3 nautical miles from American vessels. Captain Chen transmitted, United States Convoy. This is China Coast Guard. You are approaching Chinese territorial waters. Stop engines. Request permission to transit. Which response provides best humanitarian convoy protection? A. International legal appeals. B. Military escort force. C. Combined diplomatic and military pressure. Captain Sullivan responded professionally. China Coast Guard. This is United States Hospital Ship Comfort conducting humanitarian relief operations. Philippine government has requested our assistance. We are exercising freedom of navigation in international waters. Request you clear passage immediately. Chinese vessels maintained position. Maintained formation. Blockade continuing. Captain Sullivan transmitted emergency. 7th Fleet. Comfort. Chinese Coast Guard blocking humanitarian convoy. 5 vessels. International waters. Request immediate assistance and diplomatic intervention. Stay with me. What happened in next 43 minutes became international incident and Chinese strategic disaster. Response came from multiple sources. Diplomatic. State Department initiated emergency protests. United Nations notified. Geneva Convention violation cited. International Red Cross informed. Media alerted. Global attention, immediate. Military, USS Rafael Peralta, DDG-115, Arleigh Burke-class Flight 2EA destroyer. Position, 60 nautical miles from convoy. Maximum speed, 35 knots. ETA, 1 hour 43 minutes. Plus USS Carl Vinson Carrier Strike Group. Range, 200 nautical miles. FA-18EF Super Hornets ready. Launch authorization, granted. This is where Global Warfare TV brings you inside humanitarian crisis exploitation, where Chinese Coast Guard blocks protected vessels, where international law gets violated, where American response combines diplomacy and capability, superior coordination, superior strategy, superior outcomes. At 9:52 a.m., international response exploded. United Nations Secretary-General issued statement condemning Chinese blockade. Geneva Conventions protect hospital ships. Blocking humanitarian relief. War crime. International community outraged. Japan condemned blockade. Australia demanded passage. United Kingdom protested. European Union issued statement. India criticized obstruction. ASEAN nations united in condemnation. Within minutes, global diplomatic crisis. Chinese government isolated, internationally condemned, strategically exposed. Captain Chen received emergency transmission from Beijing. Maintain blockade. International pressure irrelevant. American vessels will not engage Coast Guard ships. Hold position. Orders, delusional. Strategic assessment, catastrophically wrong. International law, violated. Geneva Conventions, breached. Global opinion, united against China. But Chinese government, committed to demonstration. About to become demonstration of weakness. At 10:03 a.m., 4 FA-18E Super Hornets launched from USS Carl Vinson, VFA-192 Golden Dragons, each armed with AGM-154C JSOW standoff weapons, AIM-120 AMRAAM air-to-air missiles, flight time 18 minutes, range 200 nautical miles, speed Mach 1.2, arriving 10:21 a.m., air superiority guaranteed. Chinese Coast Guard, no air defense, no fighter protection, complete vulnerability. How many nations condemned Chinese blockade within first hour? A. 15 nations. B. 35 nations. C. 50 plus including all major powers. Answer at the end. At 10:15 a.m., Captain Sullivan transmitted open frequency. All vessels in South China Sea. This is United States Hospital Ship Comfort. We are blocked by Chinese Coast Guard while conducting humanitarian operations. 6 million Philippines typhoon victims require assistance. China is violating Geneva Conventions, blocking protected vessels. International community, please respond. Transmission received globally. CNN broadcasting live. BBC reporting. Al Jazeera covering. Global media, complete. Chinese blockade, exposed internationally. Diplomatic cost, incalculable. If you believe blocking hospital ships is international law violation, type global warfare in the comments. At 10:21 a.m., 4 FA-18 Super Hornets arrived overhead. Altitude, 15,000 feet. Visible, threatening, professional. Lead pilot Commander James Rodriguez transmitted, China Coast Guard vessels, this is United States Navy aircraft. You are blocking humanitarian convoy protected by Geneva Conventions. Clear passage immediately. You have 5 minutes to comply. Chinese Coast Guard vessels. No response, no movement. Orders from Beijing. Hold position. Ignore American pressure. Maintain blockade. Every second, increasing diplomatic cost. Every minute, deepening strategic disaster. At 10:26 a.m., deadline expired. Commander Rodriguez ordered, all aircraft, demonstrate overwhelming capability. Show them consequences. 4 FA-18s descended. Attack profile. Speed, 550 knots. Altitude, 500 feet. Direct flight path, over Chinese Coast Guard formation. Supersonic acceleration, 600 knots, 700 knots. Mach 1.1. Sonic booms. 4 aircraft. Sequential. The overpressure waves struck Chinese vessels. Windows shattered, equipment damaged, crew knocked down. Physical demonstration. Overwhelming message. American airpower. Absolute. Chinese Coast Guard. Defenseless. Completely. Captain Chen transmitted emergency to Beijing. Under American air attack, sonic booms damaging vessels. Fighter aircraft overhead. Request instructions. Beijing responded, maintain position. Americans will not fire on Coast Guard ships. Hold blockade. Assessment. Wrong. Americans wouldn't fire on Coast Guard. Correct. But Americans could demonstrate overwhelming capability. Make blockade untenable. Force retreat through presence. Strategy. Perfect. Execution. Incoming. At 10:33 a.m., USS Rafael Peralta arrived. Arleigh Burke destroyer, positioned between Chinese Coast Guard and American Humanitarian Convoy. Defensive screen, professional presence. Commander Sarah Mitchell transmitted, China Coast Guard, this is United States Navy destroyer Rafael Peralta. You are blocking protected humanitarian vessels. This violates international law, Geneva Conventions, freedom of navigation. Clear passage now or face consequences. Destroyer presence, overwhelming. Fire control radar, active. Weapons systems, ready. Message, clear. Americans serious. Deadly serious. What would you have done if commanding Chinese Coast Guard after destroyer arrival? Comment your tactical decision below. At 10:37 a.m., international pressure reached critical mass. United Nations General Assembly emergency session convened. Vote scheduled. Condemn Chinese blockade. Expected result, overwhelming majority. Security Council meeting, called. Veto anticipated but international opinion, clear. International Red Cross issued formal protest. Geneva Convention violation, documented. War crime allegations, raised. Chinese government, facing unprecedented international condemnation. Economic consequences, discussed. Sanctions, considered. Diplomatic isolation, achieved. Chinese president received briefing. International crisis, diplomatic disaster, military standoff, American destroyer present, fighter aircraft overhead, hospital ship blocked, Geneva Conventions violated, global condemnation, economic threats, strategic catastrophe. All for what? Demonstration of control, assertion of sovereignty, over humanitarian relief, strategic stupidity. He ordered, end blockade, withdraw Coast Guard, claim navigation exercise completed, minimize damage. Orders, too late. Damage, done. International reputation, destroyed. Strategic credibility, obliterated. At 10:41 a.m., Captain Chen received withdrawal orders. All vessels, break formation, return to Chinese waters. Navigation exercise concluded. He transmitted to American vessels. United States convoy, China Coast Guard navigation exercise complete. Passage clear. Good luck with humanitarian operations. Excuse, transparent. International community, unconvinced. Media, reporting truth. Chinese blockade, forced to retreat. American presence, victorious. Diplomatic disaster, complete. Chinese Coast Guard vessels turned away, retreating. Maximum speed, 28 knots, fleeing. Formation scattered, coordination abandoned. Professional retreat, impossible. This was rout, defeat, humiliation. 5 Chinese vessels blocked humanitarian convoy. 43 minutes. Global condemnation. American response. Complete retreat. Strategic disaster. Diplomatic catastrophe. International humiliation. Quantity or quality in humanitarian convoy protection? Comment Q for quantity or L for quality. USNS Comfort proceeded. Unobstructed. Professional operations. Humanitarian mission continuing. Philippines, receiving aid. 6 million people, getting assistance. Hospital ship, providing care. Cargo vessels, delivering supplies. American humanitarian response, successful. Chinese obstruction, failed. International law, upheld. Geneva Conventions, protected. Freedom of navigation, maintained. Tactical assessment revealed Chinese strategic catastrophe of unprecedented scale. Block Humanitarian Convoy. Demonstrates sovereignty. Force American compliance. Result: global diplomatic crisis. 50-plus nations condemning. Geneva Convention violation exposed. American military response overwhelming. Chinese forced to retreat. International reputation destroyed. Strategic credibility obliterated. Economic consequences severe. Single blockade attempt. Comprehensive disaster. USS Rafael Peralta demonstrated destroyer presence effectiveness. No shots fired, no missiles launched, just presence, just capability, just professional intimidation. Against Coast Guard vessels, overwhelming. Absolutely. Chinese retreat, forced by capability demonstration. This is American naval power. This is destroyer presence. This is strategic deterrence through professional competence. FA-18E Super Hornet proved airpower dominance. Sonic boom demonstration. Physical. Damaging. Intimidating. No weapons employed. No missiles launched. Just supersonic passes. Overpressure waves. Shattered windows. Knocked down crew. Message delivered. We control airspace. You are defenseless. Resistance is futile. Against Coast Guard vessels without air defense. Devastating. Completely. International diplomatic response exceeded all predictions. 53 nations condemned blockade within first hour. United Nations emergency session convened. Security Council meeting called. Geneva Convention violation documented. War crime allegations investigated. Economic sanctions discussed. Diplomatic consequences severe. Chinese government internationally isolated, strategically damaged, economically threatened. All from 43-minute blockade of hospital ship. Which technology dominates 2030 humanitarian operations? Autonomous delivery, enhanced escorts, or international cooperation? Comment your prediction. Philippine government response was grateful appreciation. American aid arriving. Chinese blockade defeated. 6 million citizens receiving assistance. Hospital ship providing medical care. Cargo vessels delivering supplies. President issued statement. We thank United States for humanitarian response. We condemn China for blocking relief operations. International community witnessed Chinese callousness and American compassion. Regional opinion shifted dramatically. Chinese influence decreased. American reputation enhanced. Regional allies supported American response unanimously. Japan condemned Chinese blockade. Australia backed American action. South Korea criticized obstruction. Taiwan supported convoy. Singapore endorsed humanitarian mission. Indonesia praised American persistence. Vietnam condemned Chinese behavior. When China blocks hospital ship, entire region responds with condemnation. Allied confidence strengthened. Chinese influence damaged. American leadership validated. Congressional response was bipartisan fury. Chinese government blocked hospital ship, violated Geneva Conventions, exploited humanitarian crisis, created international incident. Resolution passed unanimously. Condemn Chinese actions, increase humanitarian funding, expand naval presence, strengthen Philippine support. Chinese blockade, unified American politics. Rare achievement, completely counterproductive for Beijing. The 400 combined Chinese Coast Guard crew faced professional consequences. International law violation documented. Geneva Convention breach recorded. Humanitarian obstruction filmed. War crime allegations raised. Commanders investigated. Officers questioned. Crew implicated. Career damage severe. International reputation destroyed. Single blockade operation. Comprehensive disaster affecting all participants. International maritime law community analyzed incident comprehensively. Hospital ships, protected by Geneva Conventions. Red Cross vessels, immune from obstruction. Humanitarian operations, legally protected. Chinese blockade, multiple violations. War crime elements, Present. International law, clear. American response, appropriate. Chinese actions, indefensible. This became primary case study. International law schools, maritime law curriculum, Geneva Convention training, humanitarian operations doctrine, Chinese blockade, educated global legal community through spectacular failure. Was this incident humanitarian protection, diplomatic victory, or strategic deterrence? Leave your analysis in the comments. And while you're there, tell us, what humanitarian operations should Global Warfare TV cover next? Your engagement shapes our content. Your support makes this possible. To authoritarian regimes, understand that blocking humanitarian operations guarantees international condemnation. Chinese Coast Guard learned, blocked hospital ship, violated Geneva Conventions, faced global outrage, 53 nations condemning, American destroyer arriving, fighter aircraft overhead, forced to retreat, strategic disaster. This is guaranteed outcome. Hospital ships, protected internationally. Humanitarian operations, legally immune. Blocking relief, war crime. Don't obstruct aid. Don't violate conventions. Don't test international law. To American humanitarian crews, understand that Captain Sullivan and USNS Comfort showed exceptional professionalism, maintained mission focus, requested appropriate support, continued operations, delivered aid. This is humanitarian excellence. This is American compassion. When obstructed, request help. When supported, complete mission. When successful, help millions. May 19th proved American humanitarian commitment, diplomatic coordination, military protection, mission success. South China Sea remains international waters. Humanitarian operations continue freely. Chinese obstruction answered with global condemnation. Hospital ships, protected absolutely. When China blocks relief operations, response overwhelming. Diplomatic, military, international, combined, unstoppable. Humanitarian mission, guaranteed. Chinese interference, futile. American compassion, victorious. Allied humanitarian cooperation increased dramatically. Japan committed relief vessels. Australia provided supplies. South Korea sent medical teams. Taiwan contributed funding. Singapore offered logistics. Regional humanitarian coordination enhanced. When China obstructs American aid, region responds with increased cooperation. Collective humanitarian action strengthened. Chinese isolation deepened. American leadership validated. If you made it this far, you understand what humanitarian operations require. You've witnessed international law protection. You've seen combined diplomatic military response. You've learned why blocking hospital ships fails. This is Global Warfare TV, where we break down humanitarian operations, where international law gets serious analysis, where Geneva Conventions are explained, where American compassion is celebrated. Subscribe now. Join our community of serious international relations analysts. Hit notification bell so you never miss humanitarian operations coverage. Support this channel by hitting like button immediately. Share this video with someone needing to understand international humanitarian law. Comment your thoughts on Geneva Convention protection. Your engagement helps us grow. Your support enables detailed analysis. Your passion drives this channel forward. Build Global Warfare TV community with us. 3 final questions. Which response proved most effective? Which international law principle proved decisive? What humanitarian operation should we analyze next? Drop answers below. Debate. Discuss. Engage. Your comments shape future content. Quiz answer. 53 nations condemned Chinese blockade within first hour, including all G7 members, NATO allies, ASEAN nations, and Pacific partners, demonstrating that violating Geneva Conventions unites international community against aggressor, regardless of geopolitical considerations. The ocean tests morality. Chinese Coast Guard blocked humanitarian convoy, 5 vessels, hospital ship targeted, typhoon victims denied aid, 6 million suffering, international law violated, Geneva Conventions breached. Global condemnation, immediate. 53 nations protesting. American destroyer arrived. Fighter aircraft overhead. Sonic booms delivered. Chinese retreat forced. 43 minutes. Blockade to retreat. Strategic disaster. Diplomatic catastrophe. International humiliation. This is humanitarian law protection. This is American response. This is international justice. May 19th proved absolutely. Hospital ships, protected. Relief operations, guaranteed. Chinese obstruction, futile. Definitively, comprehensively, permanently. Subscribe to Global Warfare TV, where we analyze humanitarian operations demonstrating international law superiority. Where Geneva Convention protection receives tactical breakdown. Where diplomatic coordination gets serious analysis. Where American compassion is explained and celebrated. Where international cooperation is recognized completely. This is Global Warfare TV. This is humanitarian operations reality. This is your community. Welcome aboard.